announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
Listen up, you blind slapnut.
If I can be serious for a minute.
This is the Flex Network. This is the Flex Network. Flex on them. Flex on everybody.
The real reason I came here tonight is because we are live!
We Flex are NXT.
It's go time, folks!
Sweet! A little bit of the bubbly.
The preceding announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
For life.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all the ages, it is Thursday. That means it is time for some wrestling here on the Flex Network. I am the Snowman. You can find me at here where? Oh yeah, here at FlexNet_PWE for all your wrestling content here on the Flex Network. We are live on Facebook. We are live on Twitter. We are live on YouTube. Thank you for joining us. Guys, it's been a good week. I would say not a great week, not an awesome week, but it's just been a good week, for wrestling. Of course, with everything going on yesterday at DC, well, it feels a little bit chippier now, just a little bit chippier around the parts now. So, but let's get into some wrestling talk. Let's get into some wrestling, what's been going on in the world of wrestling. If you're checking in to the show, drop a comment down below. We got a question about what went down in the world of wrestling, so let us know. Shots by Nathan checking in on Twitter. It's like, yes, what is the latest? Like, yeah, let's get into this. So let's get into what has been going on in the world of wrestling. We do know that WrestleMania for the next 2 years, not including this year, because we know what's going on, but we are having we know the next 3 years of WrestleManias this year switched with LA as they graciously allowed them to have a retry for the WrestleMania this past year thanks to COVID. It will be it's a nice gesture for LA to do that. It is just, nice to say the least that LA was supposed to get the WrestleMania 37 this year, and now they graciously say, hey, we know we can't have fans right now in the stadiums, and we were supposed to have WrestleMania this year. We'll let Tampa Bay have it. They're allowing to have fans in the stands, and we'll let them have a retry. So Tampa Bay will be hosting WrestleMania 37 this year. It is awesome, to say the least. The plan is it's going to be another 2-night event for this year's WrestleMania, like it was last year at the at the Performance Center. It'll be the April 10th and 11th at Raymond James Stadium, and it is supposed to be rumored that there's going to be 25,000 people in attendance for both nights, so 50,000 total for the entire show. And around this time, they're going to start shifting their focus into a soft opening as a test to try to get back on a touring schedule, to say the least. It's just great, to say the least, that we're going to see this happening. We're going to see fans at WrestleMania, and hopefully that this is going to somewhat start the trend to get back into WWE going on the road again and whatnot. Now, that's not until April, so we still got several months to go. We still got to get to spring, so we're still middle of winter. Got a little ways to go. But we do also know that next 2 years is set in stone. WrestleMania 38 next year, 2022, will be at Dallas. They're again hosting another WrestleMania. We're going back to Jerry's World at AT&T Stadium, and WrestleMania 39 will be at LA. Again, the gracious switch around with Tampa Bay for this year. So 2023 will be in Los Angeles as WrestleMania goes Hollywood again. And I don't know what everyone's thoughts are going to be about this. It's great that we know the next 3 years, because normally WrestleMania time we would hear the night of WrestleMania. Generally, where are we going next year? Where's WrestleMania going next year? And they have this big, they have a trailer during the show. It's let's see where we're going. Oh, okay, Sunny Beach. Nope, desert. We're going to Dallas next year. So we now know for the next 2 years where WrestleMania is going. Dallas, and then back to LA to make up for, hopefully by the time we get to WrestleMania, it's going to, or by the time we get to LA and maybe even Dallas, I would say by the time we get to Dallas next year, I believe we may have more fans and stands. And I am strongly believing by 2023, by WrestleMania 39, we will have max capacity again. We will be back to normal. I would think, the way we're going right now. And speaking of WrestleMania weekend, the Hall of Fame. Yes, the Hall of Fame that was, we don't know what is going to happen with right now with last year's class and this year's class, if they're going to be actually doing a in-person showing. But the rumor has it that we're going to do a virtual Hall of Fame induction ceremony without fans. But again, that could change between now and April, so take it with a grain of salt. And while we still know that Batista, still know that the NWO, still know that Bulldog, if I remember correctly, for the Hall of Fame 2000, I know it was Batista. It was the NWO, X-Pac, Nash, Hall, Hogan, JBL, Davey Boy Smith, Jushin Thunder Liger, the Bella Twins. They were supposed to go in last year. So I don't, I do believe that these guys deserve their day to get the recognition and the admiration from the fans for their time and their contributions to the wrestling world. And I swear they need to bring that with the fans back. If they do it virtually, I just don't see it. Unless they're doing it like they're doing it now in the Thunderdome, where we have, maybe the wrestlers, surround, there, but the fans itself virtually and at, something to the degree of they can do a mass amount of people virtually to that degree. That would be, a way to get around the COVID and everything, because of, we want to have the wrestlers there to partake in this event, but we don't want to have a lot of fans, of course. So I just don't know what they're going to do. We'll find out more as the months go along, as we get closer to Hall of Fame and WrestleMania weekend. WWE NXT signed 3 wrestlers over the week. They brought in this one person everyone has heard of at some point, Priscilla Kelly, is making her way back. She was in the second annual Mae Young Classic. She has been on AEW. She's going by Gigi Dolan. Interesting name. I figured, keep Priscilla Kelly. Doesn't. Yeah, I don't know why, but again, they can do whatever they want. Other signings, we had Lacey Ryan. She was a wrestler with Future Stars Wrestling and a former Future Stars of Wrestling Women's Champ. She will be going by Zoe Stark. And then we got Elena Black, who did a couple matches on AEW Dark. And she'll be going by Cora Jade. So a lot of interesting, signings coming up for NXT down the road to see who we're going to get on that program. We got a heads up on what is coming up on Dark Side of the Ring, the series on Vice. If you guys remember, they did the Benoit story, the Owen Hart tragedy, Dark Side of the Ring. So that's a very interesting story to say. Stories that they do in the ring, with bringing light to a lot of these tragic events and everything that went into what wrestling is about, with the stories, the very dark times of wrestling. We know what they're going to be doing for season 3, and this is a lineup, guys. We got, to start off, they're going to do Brian Pillman, Flying Brian Pillman. They're going to do that story. And wow, that's just going to be very interesting, to say the least. They're going to do FMW, Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling. Okay, I didn't never heard of that, but XPW, Extreme Pro Wrestling. Now, if you have heard of this, or if you've never heard of this, you kind of saw a little bit of it if you saw the New Jack story on Dark Side of the Ring. You saw a little bit because it involved the scaffold match with him and New Jack and Vic Grimes in 2002, where you just New Jack stun gun, bon voyage, tossed him off the scaffolding, and that just calamity of tables, the ropes, almost killing him. Yeah, that's going to be very interesting, to say the least. Nick Gage is going to be one. WCW and New Japan Pro Wrestling Collision in Korea, 1995. That's going to be an interesting story, to say the least. With WCW and New Japan Pro Wrestling doing an event in Korea back in 95. It's going to be very interesting to see what they're going to do with that, or the stories with that. The Smith family, Grizzly Smith, Sam Houston, Rockin' Robin, and Jake the Snake Roberts. That'll be a good one right there. And then Iron Kurutu, aka Bruiser Bedlam, Johnny K9. That should be, I don't think I've heard of them as much, but should be good, good stories right there for the Dark Side of the Ring. So get your popcorn ready, guys. That's gonna be good to see right there on Vice, to see some very dark stuff, and maybe know some more stuff. I feel like, again, with the Chris Benoit, we all thought everyone knew a majority of what had happened. Benoit had his brain scrambled, did the killing of his son, wife, himself, and we find out later, his brains were scrambled up the yin yang, and it was like, okay, but we got more information. We got the story and everything that led up to it, and his career, and even woman, and everything. It was just, wow, you would never thought of this stuff, but yeah, it's just so interesting. But go and check that out. You guys can go check that on Vice, or like how I found out was, or just watching it was on. Just go watch on YouTube. It's there. But yeah, Dark Side of the Ring coming up for season 3 for their topics should be fun to watch. And that is pretty much the news for this week. So let's get into the episode, the show recaps this week. We're actually going to get straight into it. So let's head on over to SmackDown for a little bit. And of course, you know how we do this. This is the spoiler alert. So if you've not watched any Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Impact, whatever, be forewarned, because when you hear the sound, woo, that means it's spoiler alert. So that means you might want to plug your ears, because we're going to talk what went down this week on SmackDown. Woo! Again, we're going to talk SmackDown. So let's get into it with SmackDown this week. Was interesting to say the least, with not a whole lot. I mean, again, good matches. I mean, a great match out of in the middle of the card, which was near the end, was awesome. We got the contract signing with Roman and Pierce for the Royal Rumble. We're going to talk about that in a short little bit. And Bayley has a talk show. Oh, good morning. This should be good. All right, but let's get into SmackDown. Shinsuke got his, reverted back to his old theme, you guys. He's back to his old entrance, not the one with the lyrics and everything. If I can remember the name off the top of my head without having to go look at iTunes for like 2 seconds. It was Rising Sun. I want to say that, but knowing my luck, I'm probably having to look that up on my iTunes because I have both versions. But anyhow, Shinsuke taking on Jey Uso one-on-one. It was a good match out of both these guys, to say the least, with everything going on with Jey and Jey and Shinsuke last week with the gauntlet match, them costing Shinsuke, and Shinsuke kind of not liking how it went down, how he was the last person before Pierce, and they just attacked him, taking him out of the match, and basically just screwing over his chance at Royal Rumble. Now, I will admit that the match was good, and everything that went into the whole story with everything going on right now with Jey, Shinsuke, and everything, I liked it. It was real good. So unfortunately for Jey this week, he does not pick up the victory. Shinsuke wins his match and gets a little bit of payback over somewhat of the dynasty, the Samoan dynasty right now with Roman and Jey. And yeah, unfortunately, I'm looking up what the name of Shinsuke's theme was before he switched it, and I knew I was going to do that. I knew I was going to be searching for it because it's one of those things where you remember but you don't remember, and you have it. Yeah, so his recent one was Shadows of Setting Sun, of a Setting Sun, and his old one was the Rising Sun. I knew it was the Rising Sun. I had it right, unfortunately for me, but yeah, he switched themes, and it's a welcome commodity now. You're thinking, okay, maybe they're gonna switch up Shinsuke now. They're gonna maybe give him an opportunity for a title run soon, or at least do something with Cesaro and Shinsuke. It should be good. Women's matchup, we had Natalya taking on Liv Morgan. I'm actually liking what's going on in the Riot Squad right now, the 2 women group. And with Peyton Royce, this whole thing with Peyton and actually, no, not Peyton. Peyton Royce is on Raw. I'm thinking Billy Kay. Sorry, Billy Kay. Billy Kay trying to find a team to join. I mean, I feel like she's been a lost soul on SmackDown since they had to split up the Iconics. I feel like it's been a lost cause for her. I mean, yeah, I feel like she's that popular girl that her best friend just moved away, and now she's trying to find her identity besides being the popular girl or the snooty girls. She's just trying to find her identity and trying to join, getting that click again. And what she is, obviously jumped over to is the punks, the Riot Squad, essentially just trying to find that groove again to where she feels like she's part of a team again. And while it kind of looks weird on paper to have Billy Kay, Liv Morgan, Ruby Riot as the new Riot Squad, I think given a little bit more time and hopefully a degree of, maybe if she's if Billy is serious, like she is 100% serious into this, she wants to join the Riot Squad, me and Liv and Ruby, there's got to be that turning point, like, okay, you know what, she's serious about this, let's make her a full-fledged member for the Riot Squad. And I truly believe that we're going to get that soon, to where it's not going to be, while Sarah Morgan is, gone, right now because she's pregnant, and no longer, with the company because she got, released. But I think maybe this 2.0 of Riot Squad with Ruby, Liv, and Billy can work in a strange universe. But gotta see where, if they're going to accept her, because if they're not going to accept her, then it's going to be a lost cause. And unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of other teams on SmackDown that could fit the bill with Billy, unfortunately, because her best friend is off on Raw, and somewhat, I don't know if they're still in limbo with Peyton Royce and Lacey Evans. What's Lacey doing, with Flair, and if they're still buddies and tag team and everything, we don't know. It's all a jumbled mess over on Raw. But again, a lot of things could be still up in the air. I mean, it's WrestleMania. We're getting into the WrestleMania season. Once Royal Rumble's here, it's WrestleMania season. A lot of things are going to get pushed forward. A lot of things are going to get on a fast pace as we get to WrestleMania. And even once we get to WrestleMania, it'll be, okay, we're closing the book on whatever happened between now and Rumble. And everything from the last year, we're starting anew. So, but yeah, we got a lot of time to get there. Natalya beating Liv Morgan, and I'll even say again, Billy Kay trying to pull off the punk, the punk rock look, kind of worked. Truth be told, for weeks, dressing like the pretty girl and everything, but switching up the gear and everything to be like a coming out in that punk rock kind of vibe. I actually was kind of impressed with that. It's like, you know what? As much as she's trying to be part of Riot Squad and how she's trying to, she's got dressed in the part and everything, it kind of fits a little bit. I mean, to a point. But moving on, Corbin taking on Rey Mysterio. King Corbin picking up the victory over Rey Mysterio. Cesaro and Daniel Bryan. Now, this was, I would say, match of the night material. And I don't give out, I don't call out matches, matches of the night a lot. This was a wrestling match. This was a two men who can go, who can be technical, who can be submission, do submissions and give us a great wrestling match. And I think that these two should have a series. I mean, you put a title on either one of these guys. If you put a title on Cesaro, put a title on Daniel Bryan, and make them go at in a series, I will guarantee you that this is going to be matches you want to tune in. If it's on SmackDown, if it's on Raw, if it's on a pay-per-view, you are buying the ticket to go and watch Cesaro and Daniel Bryan face off, because these guys, good God, best match of SmackDown the last several weeks, heck, even the last several months, best match I've seen. Cesaro picking up the victory over Daniel Bryan, and then main event, Apollo Crews beating Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn, of course, still trying to do the whole, there's a conspiracy against me, guys. There's a conspiracy. I'm documenting everything. But we did get the contract signed for Royal Rumble. It will be a last man standing match for the Universal title. It will be Roman Reigns versus Adam. And no. I liked how, again, there was a feel that last week and everything going into with the gauntlet match, and then afterwards, even on Raw a little bit, that Adam Pearce versus Roman Reigns. Okay, not fully buying it, but okay. And of course, going back in history, it's like, okay, Adam Pearce can wrestle. He's a former NWA World Champion. He can go. He can wrestle. So maybe by and large, we can possibly see a good match out of this. And then throughout the night, Roman wants, to make this a no disqualification match. Sign it. Okay, whatever. Roman's like, nope, I don't want a no DQ match, because I feel like it would give I want to give you guys hope. I want to give you hope, Adam. But I feel like this needs to be a last man standing match. And signs it. It's like, okay, sign in the ring. Well, they signed in the ring, and Adam, of course, is like, not like scared, more like, I've been waiting for you to sign this all night. Management who I scammed into getting into the gauntlet match and then giving him the win so I can beat him easily at the Royal Rumble, say, what? That was a great swerve right there, to say the least. Thinking, okay, Adam Pearce is gonna be that management, be like, okay, you know what? Fine, I'll do it. But turned it around and be like, I've been waiting for you to sign this all night. Instead, like with confidence, with bravado. And then, of course, the technical difficulties with the mic kind of brought down the mood brought it down a lot, because what we're hearing is that Vince was pissed, was livid, that the mic kept cutting in and out, that there was problems with the mic, and the payday for this whole thing went flat because of the microphone, which was sad, because afterwards, Adam's, walk up the ramp, and Roman's still like sitting there. Actually, Paul Heyman, Roman, and Jay are still like, what the heck did he just say? What did he just do? Was he playing us? Did we just kind of set ourselves up for something bad? And then he gets, trips, and is like, I'm not gonna be medically cleared. I haven't, it's those old injuries, trick knee and everything. I'm not gonna be medically cleared, but I can. But you do, Roman, and Paul, W contracts. It's subject to change, and he named a suitable replacement in the name of Kevin Owens. So we now know Kevin Owens is going to face Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble, Universal titles on the line, in a last man standing match, which is going to be awesome. And then, of course, the only other bad part, the only really bad part about SmackDown this week was Bailey having a talk show. Ding dong, hello. It's like, God. Uh, I don't even want to describe this to you guys, but it's one of those things where you need to watch. Go on YouTube. Heck, you'll even go on Twitter and find out what happened with Bailey this week. Having a talk show. Ding dong, hello, which was I I got nothing for this. I mean, Matt, can you help me with this one?
What the
Exactly. That's how I felt with Bailey having the talk show. I mean, she pulled it off well, but you didn't expect it. Just one of those things where really we have Bliss who has a talk show. We've had Bliss, we've had Jericho, Piper, all these, Carlito. I mean, there have been so many talk shows on Raw, and it's like, okay, we don't need another, guys. I mean, Bliss now has, went from talking with Bliss, a moment of bliss, to now having a playground with the Fiend and everything, but it's just getting crazy. But we do know that tomorrow night, Bailey and Bianca will do an obstacle course challenge, thanks to the talk show. And that was SmackDown for the week. Let's head over to Raw, talk about what went over on the Red show, on the Red brand. A little bit. Raw was kind of flat for me, to say the least. I mean, realistically, the only highlight for me was Randy Orton and actually the main event, Alexa Bliss and Asuka, but no real standouts, to say the least. Raw has just been, I feel like, for a while been flat, to say the least. But again, I think once we get into Rumble season or WrestleMania season, things will pick up. So let's just run down. Charlotte taking on Peyton Royce in one-on-one action. Ric Flair showing up with Lacey in one of his robes, just trying to distract Charlotte. Still haven't seen why the connection of why they're putting Lacey with Rick and Rick against his daughter and everything's like, I still haven't seen the reasoning why. Give me the reason why you're doing this, and I can try to get behind it. But until then, I'm just as confused as everyone else. But Charlotte picks up the victory over Peyton. One-on-one action with Retributions. Mace taking on the New Days, Xavier Woods. Mace picking up the victory against Xavier. Women's matchup, we had Shayna Baszler taking on Mandy Rose. Another edition of just these two teams clashing. Hold on one sec. Yeah, bless me. Just these two teams clashing and then sparring off one-on-one matches with each other, and it's just like, okay, I'm getting bored of that. Shayna Baszler beating Mandy Rose via tap out. AJ Styles taking on Ricochet. And actually, you know what? I want to retract my statement from earlier about Raw being flat. The fact that AJ Styles was able to hang Ricochet out to dry for him to bounce off the rope. AJ catches him and puts it straight into Styles Clash. That was just beautiful. That was awesome, to say the least. It was freaking awesome to go and see that moment on Raw. It was awesome. Highly recommend you check that out. You'll be like, what the heck? Damn, he caught him straight out of the air for that? I mean, yeah, he went to hang him out to dry. Boing, catch, Styles Clash, bam. But yeah, AJ Styles picks up the victory. Hurt Business taking on Matt Riddle and the Lucha House Party in 6-man action. And surprisingly, seems to be cracks showing in the Hurt Business, stemming from Cedric Alexander. I mean, I feel like he's getting the feeling like he's getting too big for his britches moments, where he feels like he needs to be the center of attention. And if he doesn't, he's just going to be pouting and everything galore to get his way. He's like that child with an attitude. I need to do it my way, or I'm gonna whine and cry and be pissy. So, but again, they pick up the victory in the 6-man tag action. Jeff Hardy taking on Jackson Ryder. Unfortunately for Jackson, he loses via disqualification. And then Alexa Bliss taking on Asuka. And this has been the first time in a while we've seen Alexa in the ring for months now. I would say months on. It's been a while. And for Alexa to go from this playful, like acting like a little girl, jumping around and, being happy and everything during the match, facing Asuka, the Raw Women's Champion and one half of the Women's Tag Champs, to suddenly lights go out and we get Serious Bliss in black and ready to go and be like just stone cold, like locked in to beat Asuka, the women's champ. Now, that was a great story feel right there, to where maybe we can see Alexa Bliss win and get a shot at the Raw Women's title, maybe at Royal Rumble. She did beat the Raw Women's Champion, so maybe this will put her in the title picture, or to even further for the Royal Rumble. I mean, we're getting closer, so I don't know who will be the odds-on favorite to win the Royal Rumble this year. The women, it's always up for grabs, to say the least. So, that was Raw, in essence, right there. Randy Orton, again, he's selling, getting burned in the face pretty hard, and now he looks like trying to be a Cody Rhodes. He got disfigured, with a mask on, kind of like feel like he had just this creepy feel. And I love how he's committed and how he's trying to keep everything going on with him, between him and The Fiend. And I can't wait to see what this is going to happen. This is going to be good. We'll quickly run down. We had Hard to Kill, TNA's Impact Wrestling's Hard to Kill, and the big main event out of that one, Kenny Omega, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, Bullet Club for life. Wearing Bullet Club, not lighting it, just parading around in Bullet Club gear, taking on the Impact World Champ, Rich Swann, Chris Sabin, and Moose, the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. And it was awesome matchup right there. The AEW World Champ, the Impact Tag Champs taking on the current Impact World Champion and the TNT World Champion. Kenny Omega hits One Winged Angel and he pins the Impact World Champion. That was the real talk of the town over the weekend for Impact. And this opens up a big possibility that we're going to see Omega versus Swann in the future for the Impact World title. I feel like this is going to happen, and we're probably going to get a title switch where Rich loses it to AEW. I just have that feeling that that's what's going to happen. And then, of course, we had Barbed Wire Massacre. Now, I would not call it Barbed Wire Massacre. truth be told, I would call this maybe the Orange House, Orange Clock. Shoot, I cannot think of uh, matchup. The Orange Clockwork House of Fun match. Kind of feel it kind of had a feel like that. Actually, I have it right here in front of me now. I have to like find it now. There's no holds barred match. Uh, it's like you come on, you cannot tell me that. Ugh, I feel like I have to sneeze again. Oh yeah, the Clockwork Orange House of Fun match, just wrapped in barbed wire. That's what it kind of felt like more to me, because if you've really watched the first ever, actually the first two ever barbed wire massacre at Impact slash TNA slash Impact, you know that the ring ropes gone. Instead, it's barbed wire ropes just surrounded the ring, with barbed wire bat, barbed wire chair, barbed wire boards. Like you couldn't pick up anything without it being wrapped in barbed wire, and literally a no ropes barbed wire match. This, I would say, was a house of fun barbed wire match, not barbed wire massacre. Because if it was barbed wire massacre, you would have the ropes be. That was weird. I think I said the Fiend's name somewhere, but but you would have it as a no ropes barbed wire massacre. That would be a true barbed wire massacre. But still, barbed wire, side cage, tables, bats, literally chairs, just boards, craziness right there on its own. It was bloody, it was vicious. Eddie Edwards took on Sami Callihan, and they ended their rivalry, I would think, with Eddie hitting the Boston Knee Party on Sami Callihan with the chair, and then hitting Emerald Flosion on a barbed wire chair. So hopefully that is the end of this sick and twisted rivalry that these two have been putting each other through for years. And then I think that was pretty much like the big moments for me for Hard to Kill over the weekend. Impact this week was kind of funny, to say the least. You had AEW's Private Party taking on Chris Sabin, James Storm, TNA Originals, for opportunity for number one contenders, opportunity for the Impact World titles, tag team titles. And you had Tony Khan and former X Division champion Jerry Lynn, who's now with AEW, chilling at ringside and interfering and helping Private Party beat Sabin and James Storm to get number one contenders opportunities for the tag team titles, for the Impact tag titles at No Surrender in February. It's just going to be, this is crazy to say the least, that AEW and Impact doing, business dealings together, and we're getting Impact coming over to AEW and vice versa, and we're now having matches. Hope, possibly even title switches over. It's just crazy. And I've said this before in a couple shows ago, where I would think that AEW should just buy Impact and bring their talent full-fledged over here. Again, take it for what it's worth. You can go back and check out my rant I've had about that. But that's just my opinion on, AEW should buy Impact and end that entire thing right there. But moving on to something else that was kind of funny. I find that Ty Valkyrie apparently is leaving. She's out of TNA, and how they ended up getting rid of her. Saying that, putting her as, she killed Johnny, her soon to be husband, and everything that way into the wedding, and everything was just crazy. But as she's being get taken out and arrested, by bad dressed cops, you had Tommy Dreamer just coming up with this little pun.
Where are you taking her? If she's lucky, she'll go to Jacksonville State Prison. But for what she did, and she's not that lucky, I think they're going to send her to Stanford Maximum Penitentiary for 2 years, maybe an option for 3. And trust me, that'll change a person's soul forever.
I hope they don't send her to Baltimore.
Oh my God, that's just so much burn right there. Unfortunately for her, that might be true. That she could go to AEW, aka Jackson State State Penitentiary, or go to Stanford Maximum Security for 2, maybe a third year options. Like, really? I applaud them for that pun. It was just so good. But yeah, that was that was Impact for the week. And talking about Raw quickly a little bit, I'm scatterbrained right now, to say the least. Let's head on over to NXT, talk a little bit about what went down this week. We had a lot of Dusty Cup action for the men and the women. Kushida and Leon Ruff beating Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory the way, and moving on in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. That was a great matchup right there. Karrion Kross beating Ashante 3 Adonis, and knocking out that tag team from the tournament. Unfortunately for them. We had Lucha House Party beat Imperium. How the heck did that happen? Surprisingly, the two most dominant tag team, 2 men in the most dominant faction right now, besides over in UK, besides Undisputed Era, Imperium, they lose to Lucha House Party. I did not see that coming. But to know that Lucha House Party now has to go up against Legado del Fantasma in the second round, that kind of might bring him down a little bit, just to say. But yeah, that was the shock of the first round. I would say that was the shock of the first round. Imperium's out of the tag team tournament. First round women's tag team tournament in the Dusty Rhodes Classic. Kane Carter and Casey Catanero beating Storm and Mercedes. Wow. Good, best way to kick off the women's tag title or tag team classic in style. Only 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. 4, 8, 12. Yeah, 16. There's only 16 teams. Only a quarterfinal, semifinal style tournament. So what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 matches. 8 matches in the tournament for the first round. But still, a lot of good teams in this tournament. And we'll get to that in a little bit. But Bronson Reed making his return, beating Tyler Rust in one-on-one action. And then the Fight Pit, Timothy Thatcher beating Tommaso Ciampa with the muffler stretch, with thanks to a little help from the cage. And he beats the Psycho Killer. Wow, it was an awesome match. Go and check that out. But updated bracket for the tag team tournament. We know that Breezango is out, losing the Undisputed Era. They're waiting on the team of the final of the match, the end of the match between Davare and Tony Nese versus since Ashante Theodonis and Desmond Troy are out. Ciampa and Thatcher are going to be in the tournament in the first round, so they will be facing off against Davare and Tony Nese in that first one of the last first round matchups in the tournament. They will move on. Winner of that will meet Undisputed Era. And then we have Kushida and Leon Ruff, who beat The Way, taking on Grizzled Young Vets in the second round, who beat Everrise. We have MSK, who beat Jake Atlas and Isaiah Swerve Scott, taking on Drake Maverick and Killian Dane in the second round, as they beat Austin Gray and Kurt Stallion. And then Lucha House Party will meet Legado del Fantasma after House Party beat Imperium and Phantasma beat the Bollywood Boys. That is going to be a great second round matchup action right there in the men's side of the tournament. And then in the women's side, we know what the bracket looks like. We're going to have Cora Jade and Gigi Dolan, the two new recruits for NXT, taking on Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell, The Way, in the first round matchup. Ember Moon, Shotzi Blackheart taking on Maria Schiffer and Zoe Stark in the first round action. Aaliyah and Jessie Camella taking on Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez in a first round matchup, and the winner of that match will meet Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter in the semifinals. So a lot of action still to go in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Tournaments. Let's head on over to Dynamite to close out the show before we head on out of here for the week. The Dark Order taking on Chaos Project and TH2 in 6-man tag team action. We thought we were going to get Hangman Page to join Dark Order, but he's still feeling the burn from the last time he was in the group, so he unfortunately declined to join the Dark Order, which sucked. Cody defeating Peter Avion in one-on-one action. Moxley beating Nick Komotoro in one-on-one action. Private Party and Matt Hardy beating Top Flight and Matt Sydal in 6-man action. Penelope Ford and Leah Hirushi, I want to say. I cannot say it. I butcher names. That's my gimmick. Yeah. And women's action. And then main event, we had Jericho and MJF taking on Sammy Guevara, Jake Hager, and Santana and Ortiz in the Inner Circle Tag Team Challenge. The winning team will be the ones going for the AEW World Tag Team titles. And it's going to be Jericho and MJF. That should be fun. And I know that a lot of people don't like to say this a lot about Dynamite, but I think this week's Dynamite was just compared to NXT, to say the least. Dynamite was kind of bland as much as I don't want to say it, but I think it was just kind of blah for the week. But again, it happens sometimes. Some days you're off, some days you're on. And I guess this week was not a good week. Or it was an okay week. But we do know that there is going to be an AEW women's eliminator tournament, a 16-women tournament to determine a new number one contender for the women's title. We don't know who's in the tournament yet. That's still up in the air. And then, of course, we do know next month at AEW Revolution, we have a match signed. It will be tag team action with Sting and TNT champion Darby Allin taking on Team Taz's Brian Cage and Ricky Starks in a street fight. That is going to be one brutal battle right there. But I think that is going to be it for me, guys. I I've got nothing left in the tank for you guys this week. Yeah, I think I've pretty much covered a lot of stuff this week. So I'm gonna, we're gonna get through the house clean that we need to get through. So make sure you guys are liking and following the Flex Network here on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. Just search for us at _FlexNet_PW Elite for your wrestling content. And then, of course, you should be following us also for your fantasy football and football content. You should be following us on Twitter also at Flex Network 1. We are all over on podcasts. So if we're not somewhere where you listen to podcasts, let us know. We'll get there and we will continue to provide great content for you guys. We're also on YouTube. Just search Flex Network and Flex Network Wrestling for your football and wrestling content. 2 separate accounts right there. Just make sure. But yeah, that is going to be it for me, guys. I will be back on this show next Thursday for another edition for the Wrestling Weekly Review as we are heading towards Royal Rumble. It'll be the last one before we hit the Rumble. Should be great. And then, of course, next Wednesday I will be back on these airwaves on the Flex Network, talking AFC and NFC Championship football with you guys with my brothers, Cowboy Cam and Flex Mike, and getting you guys ready for Super Bowl. But that is going to be it for me, guys. I'm rolling on out of here. So, thank you guys for checking out the show this week. I am the Snowman, and I will catch you guys next week. Peace out.
This has been the Pro Wrestling Weekend Review Show.
You got some fellow Canadians. But when you're from Calgary,
Where's that?
Alberta, Canada,
A one-way first-class ticket to Larryland.
what is it with you folks coming to Florida? Stay in your own country.
This is the Flex Network. This is the Flex Network. Flex on them. Flex on everybody. Right here.
Why me? Why me? Why me? Don't blame Canada. Blame yourself.
Feels like showtime every minute to me. I can't help it.
No. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Ta-ta for now.
We're out of time. Good night on Nitro.
The preceding announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
Well, you're welcome, Jurassic.